All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Welcome back. I'm usually welcoming you all to another episode of Let's Talk with Maggie and Lucy. We're going to talk today, but we're not going to do a reaction video for you all today. We're going to talk about our passion project, something very near and dear to our hearts because it's currently on a 50% off Black Friday sale. The link is in the description. And we only do this once a year. So Lucy and I started this, well over 3 years ago. We've done coming up on 6 sessions and 3 graduations. So we wanted to talk to you all a little bit about it and some changes that are coming up. But hi, Lucy, greet everybody. And what are we going to be discussing today?
Hi, Maggie. Hi, everyone. Next Level says, all right now. Hey, ladies, I got my peach cobbler in the oven and it's almost done. Yum. And then Discipled One, hello, hello. So, yes, today we're going to talk about the next session for the finishing School for the Modern Woman. It's going to be January 10th through February 28th. And we are going to also talk about future plans for this concept that we started together by Maggie saying she wanted to do something like this. And I said, yeah, maybe I could help you with creating curriculum. And that's where it all started.
I know, and the rest is history. So come on in, everybody. Happy holidays. Hopefully, you had a great Thanksgiving. Christmas is coming up. If you celebrate, Happy New Year, all of that good stuff. So we're just going to take you all down a little bit of memory lane. We'll talk to you about the origin of the finishing school, answer any questions that you all have. Because, like I said, the door is open for registration, but once that door closes, we are going to be taking a hiatus. And I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about that, just so you can hear it from us. And then, like I said, we'll answer any questions that you all have and then wrap up. So, like Lucy said, 2021, 2020, a while ago, Lucy and I both had our own separate channels. We still do. We're multi-streaming on our channels today. And you all know Lucy and I both came from the Kevin Samuel space, and we both have a heart for the younger women. And like I always say, I always used to get convicted whenever Kevin would say, where are the older women to teach the young? And when you come from a certain generation like we do, some of those things were just home training, but you can't expect that is the case now. And I remember I was doing a Q&A or an Ask Me Anything, and someone was asking, oh, Maggie, do you have a book? Do you have a course? Do you do meetups? People love to consume. And I remember someone asked if I had a course, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I was thinking, well, that would be great, maybe one day, but that's a lot of work, and it's just me. And guess who happened to be in the chat on that fateful day? This lady right here, who is a teacher, and she came in the chat. And what did you say, Lucy?
Hey, Maggie, maybe I could help you with curriculum. And, 5 minutes after I sent that chat, she calls me. I thought she was going to call me maybe a day after, 2 days. 5 minutes after she saw the chat, she calls me.
Unmute myself. Absolutely, because I definitely wanted to deliver something that could be helpful to ladies of all ages, of all relationship statuses. And you all hear me say, this refinement, this elegance, this etiquette, this femininity, it can help you obviously in your personal goals, but in your professional goals, in your family goals, just having relationships with other people, in my opinion, it's become a lost art, what it is to be a woman, having that woman's touch. And so Lucy and I both had some ideas, and we met together every week for the entire summer. And I brought my ideas together, and she brought her ideas together, and we put together a curriculum, and it is the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. It is an 8-week course that we teach on Zoom. We just wrapped up session number 8. We usually do it 2 times a year with the ladies from all over the world. We've had students internationally who can dial in, and we teach them in the private Zoom lessons. It's recorded, and they have lifetime access. And it also comes with a lot of other bonuses. We're going to show you all the curriculum. So if you or somebody that you know has been saying, you know what, I probably should sign up for one of Maggie and Lucy's classes, Now is the time for two reasons. Usually the class is $550, which includes a workbook mailed to you and our graduation weekend here in Atlanta. But for this weekend only, as promised, we are doing a 50% off Black Friday sale. The link is in the description and the code is there. I think it's final sale, which will give you 50% off. When it expires on Sunday, it's back to regular price. So that's one reason to jump on it if you or someone that you know is interested. But also for a couple other reasons that we're going to talk about as well. Lucy and I have decided to take a hiatus from teaching the finishing school for at least a year to figure out what's going to be next for us. I know you all see us here online once a week, and we sit here and we talk to you all about relationships, but there's a lot that you don't see. There's a lot of teaching, a lot of private coaching, a lot of events, a lot of spaces that we create where the work really happens for the ladies. And we're very proud of that. And it is a labor of love, but it is a labor. And I'll start with me selfishly. Today is a big day. I'm 50 today. And it's not just about the birthday, which we all love the birthday, but it is a milestone. And just like we told the ladies, I'm turning 50 today. Lucy has shared she will be 60 next year. So we are both officially golden girls. And so when you think about that second half of life and how you want to spend it, every moment, in my opinion, should be with intention. And we just want to really spend this year around the sun with our men and our families and really reevaluate, okay, what does next look like, and do it in a way that is beneficial, not only but for the ladies, but for us as well. What would you add to that, Lucy?
And it's something that we also talk in the finishing school is that femininity and we as women tend to slow down the older we get. Maturity, we start looking at life a little differently now that we are on, maybe on our, I think it's the third era of our lifetime. I think we start looking more into family, things that are really, really special for us because, at least for me, our time already is limited as we get older. So we want to focus on the really special things in our lives.
Yeah, it's so true. I know some of you all are, thank you for the birthday greetings in the chat. But like I told the ladies in the finishing school right before this, Lucy and I, without sounding pretentious, one of the things that I think makes us stand out is our authenticity, meaning we walk the talk and we mean what we say, and we try to live by example. And like I told the ladies, 50 is coming for all of us. 60 is coming for all of us, God willing. And you want to put things in place so that when you get to this point of life, you can slow down and enjoy, because whether you want to or not, your body is going to slow you down. Our men are going to say, hey, that's enough. Sit down. Mr. President told me he's not rushing for anything anymore. He's not pulling up on two wheels. So all of that chaos that I like to live in, he's not doing that. And if you respect your man and you want to prioritize your relationship, you're going to fall in line. And so I believe that we should exit while the applause is still going on, and then just reevaluate if we want to do it every other year or once a year or whatever. But this is the last intake that we're going to do for this year so that we can really enjoy 50 and really enjoy 60, because it is a milestone. Mr. President told me, we got about 20 good summers left. And when you think about it that way, you really look at, wow, okay, how do I want to spend that? Honey Smile says, is there an age limit for your finishing school? We have taken students as low as 17. I would say 16, 17 is probably the minimum, but as far as young, because you're now becoming a young woman, but we have students in their 60s, because elegance never ages. And I really do believe personal development is something we can always work on. What would you add, Lucy?
Absolutely. I think that sometimes when there's the younger generation attending our sessions, they are sponges. They say, "Oh my goodness, I was not aware that these are things um, that are going to benefit in the end." And on the other side, when we get the older generation, we get some of those um, older perspectives and questions in addition to the discussion. So there is, I think that the young ones, I think 17 should be the youngest, but there's no, from 17 on, we take students.
Absolutely, because we're here at 50 and almost 60, and every time we teach, it helps us. We're learning as well too. So that's reason number one why we want to take this hiatus. Lucy and I have a couple milestone birthdays that we really want to sit down and celebrate and enjoy for a year with our families. Reason number two, I'm going to be selfish again, is family. You all may see that picture over my shoulder. Some of you all know that I'm a boy mom times two, and this has been a very big year for my family. Our oldest not only graduated from high school, but Marcus decided to join. Well, I've been corrected. I have a lot to learn, you all. I have been told you do not join the Marines, you earn the title of Marine. Yes, I have been told that. Absolutely. Honey Smiles, you got a 17-year-old? Yeah, absolutely. Send her our way. We teach on Saturdays, so it'll work with the school schedule. So, just being a little transparent with you all. My ex-husband's family is military. My family is academic. So I don't know how any of this military stuff works. And I have a lot to learn. And even this holiday time, Marcus wasn't with us for Thanksgiving. I am adjusting to what that means. And the whole family has to sacrifice. It's not just the service member who goes for service, but we're very, very proud of him. He's going to have a big job and everything that comes with it. But he's going to be away at school for a year. So that's another reason why we want to take a year away from the courses. We'll still be here from time to time to talk to you all about relationship stuff, but all of the stuff behind the scenes that a lot of you may not know about, we don't want you to hear it later and say, "Oh, I was going to sign up for that." Now is the time. Link is in the description. But while Marcus is in the schooling, one of the things that they told us is he needs to be doing what he's doing, where he's doing it. And it's better for us to visit him than him to try and come home and be all over the place. He needs to focus. And so I want to open up my weekends and open up my schedule so that I can be a mom. Even though he's 18, even though he's technically an adult, he's still a teenager and he still may have his phone sometimes. And I want to be able to be on the other end of the call. And there's times when he doesn't have his phone and it's radio silent. And so we just got to learn all this together. We know we have a lot of military people that support us, men that are, in our community, but it's new to me. And I only get this opportunity once. And being a mom is more important than any of this stuff. And so I want to keep my availability for him while he's doing what he's doing, where he's doing it. What would you add, Lucy?
And we're watching, that growth, you celebrating your son, when you share a little bit on Instagram or, on social media, it's amazing. And it's just, you raised that child, you and your husband raised that child, and he's doing something that it's incredible that not too many people, at least we don't have any military members in our family. So for me, I'm vicariously living it through you and watching his growth and his accomplishments. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Lucy. So yes, with permission, you all, I'm going to respectfully, ask for this time to be selfish. We have given a lot, but again, to me, this is another way that we lead by example because our ladies need to know your family comes first. This is why I say unapologetically, ladies, if you want marriage and family, you need to prioritize that. I wanted to be a mom, so I act like it. I got the man of my dreams, so I act like it. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, it's not that big a deal. No, this is huge. Some of you all who have watched my cooking content, remember when the kids were in the kitchen with me and they were smaller than me and, tasting the food, and that fast. He is now an adult. Yes, he's still a teenager. Aw, next level. Thank you so much. It's just $M Brown. You all are too kind. I'll put it in the chat. But Honey Smile says, my family didn't consider me an adult until I turned 21. That's true. And it's a sweet, kind of awkward phase of life. We've all been there where your parents go from kind of being in charge of your life to kind of taking a step back and being a support role. The training wheels are off, but I'm still watching him, ride that bike. And sometimes he'll call and say, Mom, can you do this? And I need to do it like right away. Can you get this document for me? Can you book this flight for me? Until he has a wife of his own, that's kind of my job, to be a support system for him. And I absolutely love it. So that's another thing we're going to do. And I know Lucy said that, I raised him, and I know what she means by that. But I have to say, I'm so grateful that my ex-husband and I co-parented, because some of you all know, some of you all don't know, as a boy mom, the boys went to live with their father once they went to high school. And so it has been a team effort, and the family, the village, my family, I still call them in-laws. When it's time to celebrate these kids, we show up in force. It doesn't matter what happened, because that is the priority. These boys deserve the best. And so Marcus is now a United States Marine, and our youngest, we have two, he's a senior in high school. You all know Alex, so I'm getting ready to go through another graduation season and everything that comes with that. It's a lot, and he plans on going the Air Force route. So I may have another picture next to this one in not too long. So, thank you so much. I appreciate you, James. I'll just say James, for sending the contribution. I won't put your whole name out there, but I really, really appreciate the birthday blessing. Thank you. Is that New You? One of our students. New You is here. Thank you. Wow, you guys are so generous. Tawanda, thank you for the compliment. New You is one of our students, and she is, you can see the Euros. She's in Germany, and she takes time when we meet. It's her evening, and hopefully she'll be able to come to Atlanta. But one of the young women that we've been teaching behind the scenes. So I know a lot of times you all see this part of it, but we just wanted to kind of peel the cover back so you can see. Thank you, Shantae. So yeah, just having this time to work with Marcus, watch him grow. And once he gets stable, wherever his assignment is going to be or whatnot, I'll know more then. But it's one step at a time, and I have to, wait and just be present. So I appreciate everybody's understanding on that. Would you add anything, Lucy?
No, and I think that it seems that you're taking the brunt of why we are kind of like going on a hiatus. It's also my part. My husband has asked me to slow down on some of this this effort, and once the husband says, maybe we could pause, that's what goes, and that's okay. It's time to spend time with my husband and the family and the important things that are not related to this content.
That is such a good point, you all. And Lucy brings up a good point. And yes, we're talking about the finishing school. We'll get into the curriculum. And if you all have any specific questions, this is your time to ask. We're happy to answer them. But I have so much respect for Mr. Lucy for allowing me to hijack her for multiple years in a row and events. And when we take time to coach the ladies, which is a labor of love, it keeps us from doing other things with our men, with our husbands, with our family, with our children. And there comes a time when you can't burn the candle at both ends. And when our men say, you know what, I think it's time for you to kind of slow it down, we practice what we preach. We're not going to sit here and tell you all you need to respect your husband and then just do whatever we want to do. So when Mr. Lucy says, hey, I think it's time to, kind of put a pause on that, We're putting a pause on it. We got one more go round. So again, if you or anybody you know has been saying, you know what, I want to take that finishing school, I want to take that course with Maggie and Lucy, now is the time. The link is in the description. You can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com. The code is final sale. Just for this weekend, you can get 50% off. We will teach the next session, January and February. But yeah, I got the same feedback too. Mr. President was like, I'm not rushing anymore. We're not pulling up on two wheels. We're not doing anything chaotic. And ladies, here's the point. We all naturally slow down, but our men, especially when they get older, what they want is time with us. When they have finished the grind and they're ready to kind of settle down, they want their woman by their side. Full stop. They just do. So if you want to be that woman, you have to open up your schedule and not expect him to wait for you. Oh yeah, I'll get there. Let me finish this thing. No, if he wants you there while he watches the game or to make popcorn or just, sit there and hold hands, that is what you do. And I think you're going to love it. Like Lucy and I love it. So yes, absolutely. I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, Bria has a question. What days are the classes? Fantastic. We'll get into the curriculum, but the class is taught on Saturdays, and it's usually at 3 p.m. Eastern, or if you're West Coast, that is 12 noon, or if you're in Germany, that's 9 p.m. at night. And we like teaching the classes live because each session we have the same curriculum, but new students, and we customize the teaching based on who's in the class. So you get the same foundation, but it allows you to ask questions and get answers in real time, because I'm very passionate about making sure you all have something tangible that you can take and go implement. There's nothing wrong with a course that's on demand. All of our classes are available. If you want to buy them and do self-study, just let me know. I'll open it up. But we like teaching live for that reason. And I think that's what keeps us makes us stand apart. And Bria wants to know how many weeks. It is an 8-week course. Sometimes we may adjust or combine, but we have 8 sessions. Sessions 1 through 7, Lucy and I will teach. And then session 8, we always bring in a guest speaker. And you have access to the recordings for life, plus all of the other guest speakers from previous sessions. So you have the whole catalog. And in the future, if we do something and update the curriculum or bring in somebody else at no extra charge, you will always have included in your tuition the new material. What would you add, Lucy?
And the beautiful part about the 8th week, which is one of my favorite ones, it's because with that guest, then all of the previous classes join us together to be live on that session. And it's fascinating to see, the ones that the first iteration of our group session, then the second, then the third. It's just fascinating to see how many young ladies have gone through this, and we see the progress, and sometimes they share the milestones with us. It's just great to see that on the 8th week.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into the curriculum so you all can see precisely what we teach. A few other things of context. Bria says, thanks, I was asking because I have littles and you want to be there live. Yeah, absolutely. And look, we love it if you all are camera on, but we understand if you have to tend to family. We have had sessions where our students will have their little ones on their lap. We understand life happens, but you're able to take it in. And there's nothing wrong with prioritizing your family. That's what we want you to do. So it's 8 weeks. It's usually about 90 minutes. The sessions are an hour of teaching and then 30 minutes-ish of Q&A. We always go around and ask anybody if they have, any specific questions that we can address, any takeaways. We want to know what your goals are. We do that for the 8 sessions. And one thing I'll share with you all, so I said that Lucy and I put our heads together on what the curriculum should be when we first started, but we ran that by the men that we admire and respect. We have some executive sponsors that are always watching from the clouds. Wonderful, Bria. And will let us know, we want you to teach the ladies this, or this is what we're experiencing. They support this sanctuary that we have created for the ladies, because that's how it's been done for hundreds and for thousands of years. The older women teach the young. And so, yes, we teach virtually on Zoom. It is live, but you can take the class from the comfort of anywhere. And then I love, and I know this is a heavy lift, but I love bringing the ladies to Atlanta for the graduation. So we will have our final graduation ceremony this coming April. And every time we do it a little bit different. What we're going to do this coming time, there's a reason why there's a McMansion behind there in the picture. But Mr. President encouraged me to get a home. So the ladies who are able to come, if you need a place for the weekend, we will have a home, and one of our students is going to be the house manager. And we are going to put what we have taught into practice. So we're going to have some workshops. Of course, I'll do some cooking. We'll cater in some food. We'll go out. We'll have afternoon tea. But we are going to put the teachings into practice, because I think it's really important to have that practical component. That's why we have the graduation. You'll get your plaques, we'll do the photography, all that stuff is fine. But I think that's another thing that sets us apart. You get 8 weeks of training, and then we put you in an environment where you may have to introduce yourself to others, or, dress in a way that's formal. Practice those etiquette skills. All right, let's take a tour of this home, and let's, put some systems in place. What would work in the kitchens and the bathrooms and the whatever. All of those soft skills that I think are still very important and I enjoy. I realize that not all women have that upbringing. And so when you're in an area where now it's time to demonstrate, you're just kind of out of sorts, and we want to make sure that you are prepared. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, I think that in a way is sort of like the final exam when we put that together, and we get together and we have the tea celebration, we have the actual graduation celebration. That is something that we are watching to see if you paid attention to some of those things. And we've had instances where we have a specific dress code, and there are guides on how you will be presenting yourself, and most of the ladies have passed. There are some that are still resisting, and those are the ones that have a challenging time in real life, because they are still, although they went through the program, they are still showing some of those um, set behaviors that may not work well in real life for them in the future.
Yeah, Lucy's absolutely right. Yes, we love getting together and having a good old time. However, this is not just to get dressed up and take pictures. We are actually, I wouldn't say we are critical, but we are, like Lucy said, evaluating the ladies. But I believe in praising publicly, and then we give feedback privately. That is why we have that space. If you're wearing something and it is not appropriate for this type of outing, we're going to tell you that. We're going to gently correct you. If you have any type of conduct, this is the time where you can make those mistakes in a friendly environment. Because what's going to happen, and this is what I tell the ladies, when you get out there in the world, nobody's going to care. They're just going to let you act the way that you act. And then sometimes you wonder, well, why didn't I get that call back, or that second date, or, I didn't get hired, or whatever it is. This is the opportunity to put it into practice. All right. Next Level says, yeah, the lessons have to be properly applied, because if not, then why even take the course if you're just going to go back and do whatever you want to do anyway? Save your money. This is not about the money. All right. Bria had a question as far as the code. So yes, teachable moments with Maggie.com. The link is also in the description, and I see Erin Laura has dropped it here. The 50% off is a Black Friday sale. So I'm giving you all until Sunday. Now, here's a few things. You can make payments if you need to. When you go to checkout, you will see all the options there. Credit cards, I think PayPal, and then if you need to break it up into monthly, all of that is there on the checkout page. So you can use the coupon and then break it down in a way that works for your budget. It's all on the checkout page. Also, gentlemen, or ladies, if you wanted to sponsor someone else, you can absolutely, when you go to the checkout page, there'll be a button, a box that you can check that you can send the enrollment to someone else. You just put in their name and email and it will send the information to them. So if you have a friend or family member, or you wanted to give this as a Christmas gift, I think it would be the gift that keeps on giving. So yes, come on through with your questions, everybody. Hello, Samuel's here. We see you all coming through. And I'm going to share my screen and we're going to actually go over the curriculum so you all can see what is included. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, I think showing the curriculum and how the sessions are broken down, it's going to be a better visual for those in this uh, session.
Okay, absolutely. So the link is in the description. I'll also put it in the chat again as well, so you all can see. You can enroll anytime up until we start classes in January. The 50% off is just a Black Friday special for this weekend. But like you can see here, the price is $550, or you can get 50% off. All right. So we talked a little bit about the finishing school. I'm not going to read this to you all, but again, Lucy and I put this together as an entry level for the women who really don't know any better. And I hate to say that, but it is evident that sometimes people do things out of malice, but sometimes people do things because they just don't know. They haven't been taught. And that's what Mr. President told me. He was like, Maggie, these women don't know. We got to teach them. So this is an opportunity. So ladies, ask yourself, if you didn't have that type of home training, if you didn't have that example, if there aren't any women in your family that you can look up to and say, you know what, I would love to be like that when I'm 50, when I'm 60, maybe this could be an option for you. All right. Okay, Bria's in the military, won't be able to attend the graduation. I understand. Not everybody's able to come to Atlanta, but the teaching would still be very valuable. Wonderful. We'd love to have you. All right, so let's go back through and take a look at what it comes with so you all can see what we've been doing behind the scenes for 6 times in a row now. Okay, so like I said, we teach this on Zoom, so you can take this from your computer, from your home, anywhere. It's the same link every time. And then all the sessions are recorded. They're uploaded to your dashboard, so you will always have access for lifetime to review. And I think that's important because it's a lot of material and not everything is applicable at that time. You may do international travel later or host a dinner party later and want to come back and review that segment so that you can brush up on those skills. What would you add, Lucy?
And this is also for those ladies that remember hearing their grandmas or their mothers saying some of the things, but they weren't able to apply it. Now they're going to come back and say, I remember my mom saying that. Now I know why it's so important to apply this in this case. So again, it might be for those ladies that have never had the training, or those who didn't think it was important earlier in their lifetime. And now they're saying, wow, now I get it, why this is applicable here.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing to encourage you ladies, and this is what I tell the students in the class, whenever you see an elegant woman, whenever you see a graceful woman or a woman that you admire, it is a skill, which means it can be learned, which means it can be taught, which means it can be enhanced. Elegance never ages. You don't have to just be a product of your environment. Oh, well, we can all get better. And when you see that in someone else, it's because they've been taught and they've been trained and they've practiced it. And that can be you as well. All right. So in week 1, we talk about what is femininity? What is elegance? What does etiquette even mean? I know we hear these words kind of tossed around, but we really go into what do those words mean? What are they and what are they not? How do they show up in your life? Why do we even have these rules? Are they outdated? Why should I care about anybody else? It's my way. I just want to do my own thing. You can do whatever you want to do, but if you want to stand out for the right reasons, if you want to feel comfortable in different social circles, if you want to maybe have It could be a date, it could be a business meeting, it could be meeting the in-laws, it could be, an interview, it could be anything where people are evaluating you. That's just the world that we live in. And so you don't want to stumble through it and fall forward on your face in a public way. This is an opportunity for you to learn what are feminine traits, how is it different from masculine traits. Ooh, I've been doing XYZ. I didn't know that was masculine. I just thought, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what I saw. No, it's actually quite masculine. Is there an elegant way to do whatever it is that you're doing? Can I take a silent sip of a beverage, or can I pop open the top and toss it back like a dude? There's an elegant way to do everything. We talk about some of those things and how to be mindful, how to walk through the world with some awareness and not just kind of blow through like, how did this get here? And then the etiquette, those rules, those socially acceptable behaviors that differ in time, that differ in location, that differ with different culture. We talk about all of that. And that's just week one. What would you add, Lucy?
And while Maggie's saying all those things, I'm going back to the different ladies that said, wow, my life has changed as soon as I started applying all of these tips and tools and things that you show us in the sessions. And again, like we tell them, you don't have to apply them all at once. You can try them little by little, and it does show in the end.
Absolutely. Bria's excited. I'm excited too. It gets me excited to teach it. This is definitely, our life's work and a passion project, and because we see the results from the beginning. Yes, you're going to have access to it even after the class. It's lifetime access, and there's so many other things. Let's see what else you all get included in the curriculum. So that was week one. We're going to talk about femininity, elegance, and etiquette. And I'll just expand it out here. This is the same for all of them. You have dedicated slides for each lesson. You have a workbook. I will mail you a physical copy of the workbook. I think I have one here that you all can see. You'll get your own spiral bound workbook, but I also have the PDFs in your dashboard. So you'll be able to reprint them if you ever needed to. And then, like I said, the sessions are all recorded. So this is what you'll be able to go back through as you're taking the lessons. On week two, we talk about self-confidence and inner poise. One of the things that I hear from a lot of ladies, especially when they're beginning this space, is I don't really know what I'm doing. I kind of feel awkward. I'm a fish out of water. I'm not good in this area. And we talk about confidence, and it's not about faking it till you make it, but spoiler, confidence comes from being competent in something. And just like I said, this is a skill that can be learned. The only way you're going to get better is by beginning. And when you master something, that's how you become more confident. And then it shows up in the way that you carry yourself. You're not apologizing for your convictions. You're not stumbling through your words. You're able to have a conversation. You're able to make eye contact. You're able to disagree and not be disagreeable. And we talk about the steps that it takes to go from zero to being a master of your craft, because all of us have something that we're good at now. But when we started, it was rough. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree, and that gives those that have that are a little shy at practicing those portions. It gives you the courage to take it to the next step. And again, it doesn't have to happen all at once. It's just little by little. And then on the next session that we meet, we ask, what did you learn by practicing a couple of these tools? And we get some really fascinating examples on how the ladies use the tools and how, again, their lives have changed for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the most rewarding, because Lucy's right. One of the reasons we teach it live is so that we can ask the ladies early and often at the beginning, this is our curriculum. What do you need to get out of this class? What are you struggling with? We hear everything from, I'm being invited to this formal event. I don't know what to do, or I'm meeting the in-laws for the first time, or I'm nervous, whatever. We can adjust for that. And it is so fulfilling when the ladies come back and they say, I went to such and such an event, or I went on a date, and I wanted to get out in front, but I learned to allow him to lead, and he asked me for a second date. And it may seem like a small thing, but for our students, it's a milestone. It's a big thing. It could be the thing that changes the behavior or that habit, that nervous tick or whatever that they've always done that's been messing them up. This is an opportunity to change that. So I'm glad we're answering your questions, Bria. Those of you all on Instagram and TikTok, again, if you have questions, now is the time. Finishing school registration is open. Black Friday sale this weekend only. All right, so in week 3, you all know this is my favorite, hands down. We talk about dining. And everybody gets the big eyes when I say it's never about the food. And that's coming from a foodie. And if you want to know what we mean by that, you'll have to take the class. But, one thing that I'll say, eating together is one of the things that is universal with every culture. And oftentimes that is an opportunity where people either embarrass themselves or they stand out for the right reasons. And we give some real tangible things that ladies can do when you're invited somewhere. If you're hosting, if you're invited, if you're eating with others, proper seating, the dress code, the utensils. It's not to commit it to memory, but it's so that you are aware of these things. And when you don't know how to read the room, how to politely ask, how to wait and follow instructions, how to be the type of guest that gets invited back. Because of course, when you're by yourself, you can do whatever you want to do. But if you want to be that memorable person that's like, what, she was really charming, we should have her back over, or I'd like to see her again. Dining is a wonderful way to stand out. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and that's the portion where we learn on how to be a good host and also a good guest. Because there are specific responsibilities as a host and a guest that we need to follow, and then the guests and the hosts appreciate either going to the party, or the host, like Maggie said, oh, she was a wonderful guest. It's we need to invite her for our next party or our next event.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as a feminine woman, as an elegant woman, at some point you're going to be the lady of the house. Am I saying you got to cook everything from scratch and wash everything by hand? No. But you all know when you come into a space, when you feel warm and welcome, you know what that feels like. We all like that. That's why Lucy and I put the event together for the ladies in person, because we want you to know how it feels. So when it's your turn, you can host your own. All right. So that is the dining. That is in week 3. And then in week 4, we continue on with the social etiquette, those social graces that, again, have become a lost art. But proper etiquette when it comes to when you go to someone's home, when it's the holiday seasons, giving gifts, receiving gifts, what's appropriate, what is not. When it comes to greeting people, even something as simple as introducing yourself, the handshake, should I hug or not hug? What do I do? All those awkward first impressions that, what do they say? Like people can read you or something within like 7 seconds. We want to make sure that our ladies are prepared so that whatever environment you're in, you are a continuation of that graceful woman on the inside. It shows on the outside as well. What would you add, Lucy?
We even discussed the right of conversation topics. I think that in one of our events, there were a couple of conversation topics that were shared, and, we listened and we're like, maybe this shouldn't be something that you talk about, or it has to do with also the type of respect that you have for the host. Are they older? Are they younger? We talk about that when it comes to the social nuances that there are in real life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We've got Next Level Sharing. He says, ladies, share this information. The women that you don't think are interested have been secretly seeking this knowledge. And that's the sad thing. I'll just say this, ladies, for all of us, we're going to have to get over ourselves and stop expecting to be spoon fed. If you didn't have this coming up, that's not your fault. But we're making something available. If you want it, you can raise your hand and say, you know what, I can get better in this area. Because it started with me realizing I was a little rough around the edges. And so I enrolled myself and then continue to refine. And that's what Lucy and I teach from, is our own lived experience, especially for the young ladies. I know when you're young and you're around your own peer group, that's all well and good, but there will be a time when you're around women of a certain generation. It could be the mothers in the family, the aunties in the family, or the wives of your bosses or whatever. And there is an expectation on how you carry yourself, and people do talk. So if you care, maybe we can help you. If you don't, then this class isn't for you anyway, and that's fine too. All right, so we talk about social graces, and then in weeks 5, we talk about business etiquette. This one is important. Lucy and I both work. We work outside of the home or work from home, but standard professionalism, communication, you can still be effective at work and still maintain your femininity. You don't have to compete with the men as a man. You don't have to, act like a dude. I know sometimes, especially women in very challenging positions, it does have a harshness to it, but we talk about ways to counter that so that you can make sure you have your self-care rituals in place, so that doesn't just bleed out everywhere, and everywhere somebody's like, what's wrong with her? But we talk about what is appropriate in a business setting. If you are hosting a meeting, how to properly have an agenda. If you're going to include other people, if you are invited to something, how to respond, how to deliver, how to show up in a way. Again, to me, it's basic home training, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't know, and they're just trying to figure it out, and they're failing publicly. So that's week 6. We talk about business etiquette. What would you add, Lucy?
And another thing that has added to maybe the younger generation not understanding that there are specific ways to relate to others is that social media has taken a lot of that social knowledge on how to deal with each other, that once you find yourself in the real world, some of these younger generations, they don't know how to maintain eye contact, shake a hand in the business environment, respond to an email. How often, how quickly do you respond? How is the response in an email when somebody sent you a question? So again, it's those things that unfortunately in the younger environment, I guess it's maybe thought that they would know, but it's something that is required, because your next boss is watching to see if you are communicating the right way, or if you're marketing the organization the right way.
I love that. We have a comment from Sherry, one of our students, one of our alums. She says, being in the finishing school community has been a game changer for me. Please share the information because the training is very much needed in our society. Thank you, Sherry. And I want to also thank Sherry for raising her hand. And now our students are starting to give back, which is wonderful. We had one of our alum be our guest speaker. Usually we hire out an expert, but now the students that have been with us for a few years are saying, you know what, I could teach a lesson too. So we just had Kaylee teach us on the home etiquette. She's passionate about the home, being that domestic engineer, which is very needed. I don't care how many conveniences we have. We all want to feel comfortable at home. Sherry is going to be our next guest speaker, talking about home-based businesses for women who want to keep their marriage and family at the forefront. So even if you don't work outside of the home, ladies, having some of those basic business skills is going to help you, because you're going to be orchestrating. Look at me. I'm making sure Marcus, who's out of the house, has a flu shot, has his flights, has everything that he needs. Mom, what was the last one? Mom, can you get my CPR certification? He got like a pay raise because he was a lifeguard. Can you get my Red Cross certificate and send that to my sergeant? So just like that, I'm scrambling you need to be able to have a system in place. I got it filed away. Okay, I'll get that for you. So yeah, very, very excited. We had a question from James on Instagram that I'm going to answer. It's an easy answer, but I do want to address it. He said, do you think that women are outright defiant of their mother's teachings at some point in our history? The answer is yes. And that's why Lucy and I always say, this isn't for everyone. This is only for the women who want to do better, whether they were taught it and need to get brushed up or they weren't taught it. But if you've got your fist in the air and you're saying, I don't care what you say, I'm a modern woman and I'm going to, go down with this ship, that's fine. Go do that. This community is not for you. And I mean that sincerely. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. There has to be a willingness to learn and then maybe to put aside all of the things that you have learned in this modern world and maybe give your mother's teachings consideration when you get here, saying, wow, mom was right when she said, not to put the elbows on the table, while we're eating. So again, there are those that are going to be willing to learn, and we have seen them over and over in our sessions when they said, I came from the modern world and the modern teachings, and now it just life feels easier by having this feminine, delicate way that we were born to be. So again, there are those that will fight it, and those who are fighting, there's nothing we can do for them. You're either going to be coming willingly and willing to say, yeah, let me put all that aside and let me learn from this. And those that are going to stay where they are. And then unfortunately, later on in life, they will realize that they missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I always say we're here until we're not. Bria, I did look you up and I did confirm. I see your enrollment. So we are so excited. You've been in our chat for a while. So I'm so excited to have you in our next session. When you all get to the checkout page and you check out, it's going to take you to a Google form where you can put your address, where I will send you your actual workbook. And then I will follow up with, I send calendar invites for our Zoom session. So you have them on your calendar with the Zoom link. And so I'll get that together. But yes, Bria, I do see you registered. So we are so excited. Cannot wait to have you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let's continue on. So we talked about the business etiquette, whether you work inside the home or outside of the home, you need to be able to manage some business. Week 6 is another favorite of mine. We talk about international etiquette, and this is not, that you need to be a global, globe trotter all over the world. If you travel, that's great, but the world that we live in is becoming smaller. We all work with people or live around people. If you're in a major city, different cultures, different customs, maybe you're traveling to another country for work or for pleasure. We have all seen what happens to women who go to other countries and then they're behaving badly because they thought America was going to go with them and they found out the hard way. So we don't just tell the what, we tell the why behind it. And we love to give the history. How did we get here? Why is it important that I cover up when I visit religious sites in other cultures? We talk about that. So whether you're in your own city and you work with someone from a different background, again, you know how to stand out for the right reasons, and you know how to be the type of woman that brings people together and not divisive. What would you add, Lucy?
Yeah, the international session is fascinating because we do talk about how sometimes we take our modern beliefs into a more traditional country, and those our modern beliefs sometimes are not well seen over there. So again, it takes us into the reasons why they're not, and the reasons why we should do certain things in more traditional environment. And it's mostly a lot for, if we're going on our own, it's for protection. We have to be careful about going somewhere else, because somewhere else is not the United States. And that's where we start looking at how other environments do things that are not like the modern world.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bria says, sadly, women in her family are still blaming their moms for not teaching them. And ladies, this is just a life lesson for all of us. Once you become 18, you're responsible for yourself. We were all born into the families we were born into. Some of us came from strong nuclear families like Lucy and me, but not everybody did. So this is a resource for you. So if that's been you, or somebody who said, I've been wanting to do this, I'm telling you all, we are opening up registration. When it's gone, it's gone. The flash sale is only for this weekend. And if you missed it from the beginning, Lucy and I are going to be taking a minimum 1 year hiatus from the finishing school. I am 50 today. She is 60 next year. And we are golden girls and we have earned our seat to slow down and decide what is best for us. All right. So, yes, we're very happy to have Bria. So that's week 6. And then week 7, one of the adjustments that we made, my etiquette teacher looked at the curriculum and said, Maggie, you need to talk to the ladies about emotional intelligence. Why do we get triggered? Why do we have outbursts? Why do we lash out at people? You can be dressed to the nines, but if you open your mouth and what comes out is not becoming, it doesn't matter how many labels you have on. It doesn't matter what you're driving, what you're wearing, or any of that. Are you able to get yourself together? Do you know what your hot button items are? Are you able to put some things in place so that you don't go to level 10? When you feel it starting to ratchet up, do you know how to self-soothe? Do you know how to withdraw and ask for space to get yourself together privately so that you're not that person that everybody's walking around on eggshells, so your husband or your kids or, your coworkers and all, like, what's wrong with her? That emotional intelligence component is really missing in a lot of modern women because the world is fast, it's harsh, it's hard. And if you don't think about this, you're going to be always in reacting mode. And that's not an elegant woman. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and that's important. That's an important part to understand because you hear a lot of modern women saying, I'm working on myself, but then that work doesn't show. How are you allowing it to show when you're behaving still as a modern woman? And again, it's not just for yourself, it's also for your loved one, for a possible love interest that's watching you not be able to self-regulate those emotions, because again, it's part of taking accountability on some of the things that kind of trigger us for a reason. That emotional intelligence part talks about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, ladies. So hopefully you're seeing how robust this curriculum is. And again, if you didn't know, if you thought this was just me and Lucy once a week on Saturdays, we have done this coming up on 6 times over 3 years with dozens of students. And this is what we've been doing privately behind the scenes, because what we share on here with you all, reacting to videos, that's great. But if you really want to improve, it needs to be in an environment where you can make it personal and actually be tested with what you are learning. And I saw that, Erin Laura. Yeah, we have seen women travel and then they get themselves in trouble. And by that time, it's too late. It's too late. Not everything can be fixed. So we're here to try to prevent our students from, messing up. So those are the 7 lessons that Lucy and I will teach starting from week 1 all the way to week 7. On week 8, we always have a guest speaker. And like I said, our current session, we had an alum speak. Our next session, we're going to have an alum speak. But in the dashboard, you will have access to all of our past guest speakers. We had Sarah Badenova, which was a former ballroom dancer. She did a workshop with us on elegant movement as women, because our body language says a lot even before we open our mouth. We had my etiquette teacher, Elevate with Alice, come through and do a really robust session on, femininity and, even some of the things, that are, personal to being a woman and how we express that in an elegant way, So all of that is available even to our new students. It's available for you on demand. All right. So that's going to be week 8. And then we have some reference materials in there that you all will have access to. We have a Q&A that we did in year 1. That recording is there for you. We have some books. One of our executive sponsors, Brandon L. Jett, made the Ultimate Elegance Guide. That's a workbook. Some of you all saw our 30 days of 30 Days of Elegance we did in November a couple of years ago. That's available for you. He purchased that book for all of our students. So you'll have that PDF. You can. I was invited to speak at a marriage conference. And so the speech that I did is one of the bonuses for you all. This is all included. It's all available to you in your dashboard. And then some other bonuses I threw in for you. You get my cookbook, because why not? The relationship scorecard. So that's something that Lucy and I put together based on the feedback from the men. We know we have some ladies that are like, I'm a 10. I don't have anything to work on. Really? We have a list of criteria that the men told us this is what is important to us in a woman. And you can rank yourself on that relationship scorecard. That's a bonus that's included to you. And then some other things that I did, a dining masterclass. If you really want to dive into the hosting and the cutlery and all that, we give you the basics in the course, and then I have an advanced lesson in the bonuses. So this is what Lucy and I put together. This is what we have been doing for the better part of, 3-4 years now. So just wanted to go over everything that comes with it. Registration is open now. Registration will be open until class begins in January. So you have all of December to enroll, but the 50% off is only for this weekend. What would you add, Lucy?
And the reward for us is just to see the ladies, those aha moments for them, those shared milestones, those shared thoughts when they come back and share what they learned, what they practice on the last lesson. It's just, as teachers, that is a reward to see how you've applied that information and how the return on your investment comes to you, and you see it fast, and you start prepping for the next. You will be the ones teaching the next generation.
Yeah, you absolutely will. So to wrap this up, we just wanted to do a quick recap of the finishing school because enrollment is open. This is our 8-week flagship course. We usually teach it twice a year, but this will be our last class before we take a 1-year hiatus from all of this work that we've been doing behind the scenes. Thank you so much for all of the support and saying that we deserve a little R&R. Lucy and I are very passionate about this, and we want to make sure that we are at our best in order to be able to give to the women. So if you or anybody that you know has been saying, you know what, I need to take that class, or I've heard women say, my husband or my man told me to enroll, I'm here because he said, you know what, I can be a little masculine and I need to work on that. We want to provide that. So yes, thank you all so much for being such a support. Thank you to our executive sponsors. Our reasons for taking a hiatus. I'm 50 today. Lucy is 60 next year. And these are milestone birthdays for us. And we want to enjoy this time with our family and really think about what next looks like. Next could be every other year. It could be once a year. We don't know. We'll figure out what it looks like. But this is the last time that we're going to do it this way. I'm going to take some time to be a mom to Marcus in his new career as a United States Marine. And then our youngest is graduating from high school next year. And so I want to be a mom first because all of this will still be here when the kids are up and out. And last thing I'll say is this. We have quite the catalog. Lucy and I have dozens of lessons, hundreds of episodes, thousands of hours of content. So there's a lot that you can do if you want to do self-study. But if you want to reach out for personal teaching, now is your time. What would you say to close us out, Lucy?
Happy birthday, Maggie. And thank you all for being here with us every Saturday and looking forward to our new students. That is just wonderful to see the faces of the new, generation that's going to be continuing this. We hope to make our society better.
Exactly. This is our drop in the bucket. And Doggone it, I think our bucket is overflowing now. When our students raise their hand and say, you know what, I want to teach a lesson, and now they're paying it forward, that was the feather in my cap, because it was never intended for Lucy and I to carry this forever and ever. Amen. We will always be here. And maybe that's what the future looks like. Our students put it together, our sponsors fund it, and we supervise. We don't know, but we're going to take some time at 50 and almost 60 to figure it out, and we'll circle back. But yeah, we'll be back with you all from time to time here, giving you our relationship content, but we just wanted to do this. Thank you to everybody for all of your support. Feel free to share. Thank you for the birthday wishes. We're going to go out and celebrate now, and with that, we will say adios.
Adios.